his mouth in parables. Now, quiet becoming strong, number one. The kingdom of Christ is not a very visible and flashy organization in the world. It's above all, a spiritual force. This is very important point. Our relationship with God works quietly and works powerfully in our hearts. You must receive it. By living faith, hope, and charity, those three, remember? Faith, hope, and charity. Charity is the other word for love. Christians discover that the generous response to the voice of Christ in their conscience builds a life that has strength and substance. You must respond to the voice of God. It's quiet, but it's becoming strong. Look at the life of the saints. You can see this very clearly. Many lives, many saints, you can read about their lives. You see how quiet they were. You see how nobody even noticed them. They were just strange characters, totally unknown. And yet God is working in them. I remember one preacher, he was talking about the visitation. When the Blessed Mother visited her cousin Elizabeth, nobody knew about it. It was not covered in the news. No interviews were conducted. No cameras were following. She was there for 3 months. And yet, very quietly, faith was being sown. Very, very powerfully. That's the meaning of number one. As we allow Christ to reign in our hearts, we find that His influence affects not only our internal attitudes, but also the people around us. Do you know that being holy, holiness is contagious? That's why I love being with you, because you are all holy. Because by being close to you all, somehow I have a chance to become holy myself. Because it's contagious. No more comment after that. Revealing secrets. God has a plan to reign in our hearts, and the fulfillment of this is within our reach, through His grace. The secret to fruitfulness in our lives lies in our openness and cooperation with God's grace. Until you cooperate with the graces of God, you will never bear fruit. Never.
What if you don't know? You don't know.
Explain that.
The secret. A lot of people go around asking themselves, why am I here? And they don't know what is my purpose here.
There's no fruit.
And sometimes it sneaks into my mind too. But some of the things that I do for the church, I find very much joyful. And I thought, okay, this could be it. This is it, Father. And I go around, but then, like if I'm at work or in the street or something, and there are times when I feel a goodness within me, not to put a feather on my hat, but the fact that it felt good doing this and saying that, so it must be I would think in my little puny mind that it's an approval of God. And is it a secret? This is something that just came to me. He doesn't tell us until that moment comes that we feel that breath of fresh air in our hearts.
This is what I can tell you. Part of the Mass, you hear the priest say, from whom all good things come. You hear that phrase? There's a phrase in the Mass where the priest says, from whom all good things come. knowingly or unknowingly, if you are enjoying something that is good, that's from God. You may be aware, but it is from God. Is that clear? Next, Tuesday, God's final harvest. You know this. Matthew 13 again. Explain to us the parable of the weeds in the field. Remember, let it be so for now, but in the end the angels will come and separate the weeds from the wheat. The evildoers, collect out of his kingdom all who cause others to sin, and all evildoers. Let me call your attention to 2 things about this. There are 3 stages. I don't know if I've given this to you. Levels of gravity of sin. Sinning itself is bad, no doubt. Denying it is worse. You know what denying sin entails? Something like justifying. Justifying what you're doing, and that's denying the sin. And it's worse. It's worse than sinning itself, committing the sin or omitting a good act. And of course, the third one is the worst, causing others to sin. The Bible says, if you cause any of this list of your brothers and sisters to sin, it will be better for you for a heavy stone tied around your neck and be thrown into the water, into the sea. It's absolute pure death. For number 3. In today's society and the life we live, do you see these 3 levels?
Yes. Come and work where I work.
You're inviting us to come to where you work and see these 3 levels? That's quite something. Okay? Next. So that's the final harvest. God is watching us. I like that song. God is watching us from a distance. I should strive to live each day knowing that I am seen by God and consistently try to sow goodness in my life. That's the essence. If you're aware that God is looking at you, that God is watching you, how in the world can you sin? How? If you're a nun, they would not know. They would not know if I'm reciting all this. Is that? But think about Matthew 13. From a distance, God is watching us. Number 2, actually, it's not from a distance. From within. From within us, God is watching us. That song is wrong. Number 2, the limit of evil. He mysteriously allows evil to exist so that good can become purified. I had a philosopher ask me once, did God create evil? That's a long story to discuss.
I can't believe this.
But look at number 2.
Not evil.
There will be a moment when evil will be judged and will no longer have power over our lives. Amen. Amen. Parousia, when Jesus comes back, evil will not have any power at all.
That's why good always wins over evil.
Yeah.
Even in movies.
Yeah. Even Batman. Yeah.
Don't bother.
Okay. Let us use the struggle against evil as a way to show the sincerity of our love. Number 3. We reap what we sow. You believe that? You sow evil, you reap evil.
Oh, that's the consequence.
The assurance of Christ that there will be a final judgment gives Christians soberness and joy in living their lives. Just keep up the hope. We realize that this life is the short opportunity the Father gives us to do good and prepare for our great destiny with Him. This reminds me, I want to give blood. Where can I go? I have to check it. It's been a while since I gave blood. Wednesday, the treasure hunt. The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure buried in a field. You know the story. Number 1, in search of a treasure. In different ways, we all experience the desire for unconditional love. Through goodness, the answer to our deepest questions. God has come to give Himself to us. He is the one who is our greatest treasure. If you look at Matthew 13 very carefully, that treasure is Jesus Christ. And the Bible says, hides it again, goes and sells all that he has, and buys that field. What's that supposed to mean? We buy Jesus? No. What does it mean? We will forsake anything for Jesus.
And then put the treasure in the middle. Isn't that what
That treasure is
He's
Jesus.
your center. He's your center.
That treasure is Jesus Christ.
Right. He's the center of your life.
Some of us are still searching. Some of us have found Him. There should be a difference in your attitude, in your outlook, after you find the treasure. I know a story where one couple bought a piece of like cheap jewelry from a yard sale. Yard sale. And after they had bought it, I don't know what happened, what transpired, but they had it checked because they had suspicion it's something valuable. You know what it turned out? What they paid for $5 is actually worth $500,000.
Wow.
From a yard sale. Here's another story. This is even more. I haven't told you this. I have many stories. When I hear yawning, I tell stories. Here's the story. A yard sale. And this man was looking at an old violin, you know, right on the pavement. An old pavement. Violin on the pavement. And he asked, how much is that violin? $5. But before he could buy it, somebody came who was very good, very skillful in playing the violin. And he picked up the violin and started playing. So the man say, okay, here's the $5 for the violin. Oh, no, no, no. The violin is now 5,000 more. 5,000? It was $5 a few minutes ago. Yes, because the violin had been touched by the master's hands. It's beautiful, isn't it? Here's another example. Who is your favorite basketball player?
I don't have any.
Who?
Mercy.
No, no, it used to be international.
I don't know. Jordan.
Lynn.
I don't even know them.
Or I forgot the names. Because I'm not really into these things. Anyway, Lynn. I remember Lynn. You know, I've seen basketball in Kmart. How much is basketball in Kmart?
$20?
No less.
Oh, $12.
About $12, $13, like that. Okay, $15. Okay. If this ball is signed by Lynn, personally, how much is that ball? It becomes expensive. Why? Because a master's hand has touched the ball. Isn't that? That's the lesson. The violin has been touched by the master's hand. It becomes a priceless treasure. Number 2. In His mercy, we discover that our life has infinite value in the Father's eyes. Do you know that you and I are valuable in the eyes of God?
Yes.
Yeah. That's why He shows so much mercy to us.
Even me, I have some value in me. But at home, I'm not sure if it's seen.
I got the same problem.
You eat whatever you find there.
At least you have someone to tell you that.
Hey,
What about somebody?
go to sleep. Turn off the light. I feel that I see the glare.
Then we become valuable when we get baptized. That's when we
You
become
got the point.
valuable.
Yeah. But don't forget, we have been, even me, I've been created in the image and likeness of God. Believe it or not. Even me, not just you. And that makes us priceless treasures. You know that? Even if you are full of gout and arthritis and all sorts of problems, you're still priceless treasures.